Hey, it's Soul with another episode of Warcraft Weekly, your source of copium-laced commentary. Hit the like button, subscribe to feed the algorithm gods, and we begin our recap with a downer. Yeah! Just the other day, across multiple statements, the distribution agreement between Activision Blizzard and Netease, which operates Blizzard games in China, has fallen through. There's very little real information that's been shared outside of a few key statements from leadership and a ton of speculations, but let me try to lay it all out. In order to release and operate games inside of China, Blizzard has to work with companies inside the country. World of Warcraft was first run in China through a company called The Nine, which lasted until 2009 when a more familiar sounding company, Netease, which already operated a number of Blizzard services, was granted the license instead. Now cut to 2019, under the J. Allen Brack regime, the license was again renewed until January of 2023. However, something happened when renegotiating this deal and it didn't pan out, and as of now, gamers in China will expect sales of new Blizzard games to freeze, and for services like World of Warcraft to shut down on January 23rd of next year. That's 2 months from now. However, Netease still plans on following through with game releases like Overwatch 2 and Dragonflight, even though users are going to be cut off not long after launch, which, in my opinion, sounds like a cynical money grab. Meanwhile, Diablo Immortal will continue to be run through Netease, which definitely sounds like a cynical money grab. And as said, the speculation behind the breakdown is widespread. Truth be told, we have no idea what happened in this they said sort of exchange. Blizzard was the first to announce the ending of the partnership. Netease came back with a similar announcement, but is trying to play victim, saying that something like Blizzard left the negotiation table first. In fact, one person from their leadership asserts that someone's being a jerk, which easily makes us think Bobby Kotick, but it does sound very strange that anybody involved is willing to walk away from a presence in China, let alone all that cash money. Even though it's been reported that net revenue from China only amounts to a small percentage of operating profit for Activision Blizzard, it's still a lot of revenue for Blizzard and World of Warcraft itself, and in the global economy, presence is important. It's not hard to admit that Warcraft is big in China, with its own sets of events and celebrations. They had an illegal theme park, these monuments of infringement, and most importantly, there's a bunch of fans of WoW and Blizzard games. So I've got to empathize with gamers over there. This news must be devastating. You're gonna hear folks on social media and maybe here in the comments saying like, good, that they are a problem and now the gold farming is going to go away, with a confident misunderstanding of how any of that works. Because imagine your game, like World of Warcraft or whatever, with the years that you've spent on it, the investments, the money, the friends that you've made, the experiences and everything, and you're being told that in 2 months, you're going to be locked out of all of it. And it's not because WoW sucks and it's shutting down. It's not because you're like walking away and quitting. It's not because Blizzard went broke. It's being taken from you while the rest of the world can keep playing on their accounts. Now, that must feel infuriating. And in a time when we'd really like to just enjoy escaping from reality at like every turn, it's hard to not feel helpless and angry. Back when the operation of World of Warcraft was moving from the Nine to Netease, there were 6 weeks of downtime, but this was after we already knew that there'd be a handoff, and at least as of this recording, we don't know if Blizzard is in talks with anyone about the near future. And back then, players from China flocked over to Taiwanese servers, and well, history might repeat itself minus the current popularity of Blizzard games. The copium in me is hoping that another big company like Tencent or someone is going to take up the mantle as an operator, just an operator, not like they're gonna like take partial ownership of WoW or have creative control beyond China's government. And on that note, the Microsoft buyout might have played a factor too. Who knows, maybe while Netease wanted another 4-year extension, Blizzard only wanted like 1 or 2 years because there might be changes in the works. Whatever the case, that's where we're at, and I'm just crushed thinking of how your average WoW and Blizzard fan over there must feel, but what are your thoughts? Despite the mess going on over in China, the march towards Dragonflight goes unimpeded, and with less than 10 days left, it's starting to feel real. It's happening. Crap, there's like still things to do in Shadowland, I bet. We're gonna go over all of that in a Slacker's last second guide on Monday, but for now, let's focus on what's happened this week. Phase 2 of the Dragonflight pre-patch rolled out looking like a three-wheeled wagon, but it turned out just fine, with a pretty much constantly rolling set of these elemental invasions going on, giving players plenty of time to farm up currencies and pets and trinkets and transmog to add to the ever-growing roulette of chaos. Evokers blotted out the sky, as well as the Dungeon Finder cube, pointing out to what happens when the new class is not a tank spec. In fact, an interesting bug happened for a short time where world bosses were dropping mounts faster than Twitter dropping talent, thanks to an oversight that made mounts the only thing that could drop for evokers. Now in this case, lemons were turned into lemonade, the issue was fixed, and now the drop rate of said mounts has been increased for all players. I'm going to be sure to take advantage of that as soon as most people forget about it and the camping gets that much easier. Pre-expansion and holiday promos are in play. Many of you have already heard of WoW's first set of Twitch drops ever, which has been super successful, at least for getting tons and tons of viewers to tune in. It's been a treat, and it's even making me reconsider my stream schedule from the early morning to like early afternoon or so, but whatever the case, we got to meet a ton of new people and you all got a kite out of it, so it's an easy win-win. The next drop is on launch day, November 28th at 3 p.m. It should be huge, should be tons of fun, and I hope to see you there. WoW is also holding a welcome back weekend to tempt returning players to ruining their lives once again. This goes on until the 20th of this month, with Shadowlands being fully accessible, including the pre-patch event. The only thing that you can't access is the Evoker stuff. There are also sales going on, including character services and a big bundle that includes collector's edition pets and mounts that adjust the price depending on what you already have. And throughout the week, we've been seeing one interview after another to get us up to speed with what's going on. After going through most of them though, there wasn't a ton of new information to share, and not to toot my own horn because my modesty is the stuff of legend, but my interview on Professions felt pretty fruitful because it's arguably the newest feature outside of dragon writing. Whatever the case though, here is what we've learned. There are talks about a catch-up for the Great Vault, according to the interview with Max from Team Liquid and Morgan Day. That sounds pretty wild, since Raiders' idea of catch-up is getting pity gear from people who don't need upgrades. The Valor Cap will return in Season 1, but it's likely going to be higher than it was in previous seasons. According to the Raider.io interview with Ian Hazakostas, there's a lot of encrypted story content that no one has ever seen. I fondly remember doing beta testing of the Covenant campaigns for Shadowlands and all them knee-jerk reactions to lore details. So this time around, without pandemic excuses to even try and hide behind, it's going to be interesting seeing the story unfold through our own experience and not the latest Twitter or blog post of this new version of the questline. As for Professions, we managed to score the roadmap of how epic crafting is going to work. Players will be able to craft their first epic during the preseason. It's going to then be tightly controlled, aka time gating, at a rate of basically one epic every 2 weeks. After 4 rounds of this, or basically after everyone can have access to 5 total epic crafted pieces, then it's going to open up, and people will get a low chance of getting the reagents to craft more gear by just doing whatever content. Heroic craftable gear will need you to collect 10 primal focus items by killing a heroic raid boss, or a plus 11 mythic dungeon, or a gold gladiator strongbox. These are going to be guaranteed drops, by the way. Defeating mythic raid bosses, presumably plus 16 keys, and the equivalent gladiator rating will get you the mythic level reagent. Profession specs cannot be reset, but the team gave reassurances that people can eventually learn everything anyway. Crafting order amount might be nerfed. Right now it's limited to 10 orders per day, and you can bank up to 30 if they're not used. The nerfs, I think, are going to encourage a bit more pickiness and competition, and because it's easier for them to add to the limit after launch than to lower it. And I can't think of a segue, so yeah, that's the show. There's probably more information, more knowledge to come in the week or so remaining before Dragonflight, but after this coming next week, this is it. The page is turning, or maybe actually this volume of the Warcraft saga has come to a close, and another is about to begin. I want to say that Shadowlands concluded an arc that began in Mesa Pandaria, since the expansions led right into the next one up until now. And we're also ending an era of borrowed power that started in Legion. Whatever you think is coming in the next 10 or so days, whatever your impressions on it so far, there's only one guarantee: it's going to feel different. That's an unknown that I think is worth being excited for. So I want to give a huge thanks to the amazing and thoughtful folks over on Twitch for spending your time with me for your drops, and thanks to the WoW team as well for setting up this promo in the first place. If this series of drops and promos or whatever is going to brighten the sense of community even a tiny bit, I think it's totally worth it. And to our patrons who keep the coffee flowing, thank you for the continued support. And to you, viewer, you made it to the end. You helped the algorithm, and I appreciate it. Next week is the final week of Shadowlands content. I'm going to help you get ready for the end and for the start of Dragonflight, so be sure to subscribe to the channel and like this video. It helps me out. Have a great weekend, and until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, and stay breezy.